What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we are back with a Transformers rules roundup. Every week the lovely folks over at Transformers HQ give us a little bit of a rundown of all the rules questions, and then I come along and make a video explaining them because that seems like fun and I've had a lot of good feedback about it. So I thought it might be fun. So, starting off, we got a couple questions about Blurr. Blurr is a lovely little character, and in ult mode, when this does attack damage to a tapped enemy, while there is at least one untapped enemy, this untaps and then attacks an untapped enemy. Sounds fun, right? What about Mining Pick? Mining Pick says, quite simply, is a lovely little upgrade card that we got in Wave 2, and when the upgraded character attacks, you plan to, you can put up to 2 cards on top of your deck, and then you get +1 attack until the end of the turn for each one you put down. Yeah, you get to use it twice. Mining Pick says when the upgraded character attacks, Blurr attacks twice, so it uses it twice. Well, what about Bravery? So let's just use the card Bravery, although there are some characters that have Brave. Brave says that enemies must attack this character if able. So what happens if your opponent taps their first character which has Brave, you then attack with Blurr, land an attack on the tapped Brave character? Can you still attack an untapped opponent, or do you have to go after the Brave opponent? And the answer is simple. Blurr must attack an untapped character, but then you're allowed to attack a tapped character. But if your opponent also has an untapped character with Brave, Blurr would have to attack that character. It all comes down to the simple wording of Brave. If you can attack that character, you must. It takes priority. So with Blurr out the way, what about Skrapnel? Now, there was an FAQ a little while ago. Skrapnel, I should remind you, is that one that can only take 3 damage from an attack when it's in bot mode. And there's just a bit of cleaning up here. So in the old FAQ, it read that any damage dealt to Insecticon Skrapnel while he's defending will count. If the attacker has an ability that deals 1 damage to Insecticon Skrapnel, then he can't take more than 2 damage from the attack itself. However, in a later rules roundup, and I did a video on this, I'll pop a link in the description, attack damage is damage dealt by the attacking character as a result of an attack. Any other damage, including damage dealt during an attack because of an ability, is non-attack damage. And remember, Skrapnel only prevents attack damage. That has been confirmed and explained a couple of times here. So any non-attack damage will not be calculated when Skrapnel is defending. Skrapnel only protects against attack damage, not non-attack damage. But nice to have to clear up. In terms of upgrading, let's use, I don't know, Flamethrower as an example here. We know that you can put a new upgrade on at the expense of an old one. So let's say it's a Dinobot, you can put Jaws of Steel on, taking a Flamethrower off. Can you just discard a Flamethrower without replacing it with something else? And the answer is a very whimsical no. You need a new upgrade to replace a scrapped upgrade. Your robots like their weapons and don't cotton to giving them up willingly. Well put, Transformers people. Well put. Now here's a very complicated question with a very simple answer. So let's say you're playing a free bot team with Demolisher, Dark Mount and Common Megatron. When Dark Mount flips into tank mode, you may scrap a card from your hand and deal 2 damage to an enemy. When Common Megatron flips into alt mode, you may scrap a card from your hand and then scrap an enemy upgrade. And when Demolisher flips into alt mode, you may draw a card for each of your other tanks. Okay. So what happens if you play Brainstorm, allowing you to play 2 actions, then you play Hunker Down, which flips all of them into alt mode at the same time, and bearing in mind they've all got abilities that come in when you flip into alt mode. And then you play Rapid Conversion to flip Megatron back into bot mode. What happens? Now remember, Brainstorm does not say you may play 2 more actions this turn. Brainstorm says play an action, then play another action. You essentially play them right away. And the answer is Demolisher only draws you one card, because even though you flip into two other tanks using Hunker Down, you then immediately rapid conversions. There's only really one tank there, so Demolisher only draws one card. But you would be able to use Megatron's flip ability, because Megatron did still flip. Might have flipped right back again, but it did still flip. Because you've essentially only got two tanks out, you only draw one extra card. What about Air Raid? Air Raid has a lovely bot mode ability. When this damages an enemy, scrap an upgrade on that enemy. Well, what happens if you attach one of my favourite cards, Armed Hovercraft? When you attach Armed Hovercraft to a ranged character, which would include Air Raid, you do 1 damage to each enemy. So does that mean you get to scrap an upgrade? The answer is no. Air Raid does not do that damage. Armed Hovercraft does that damage, and because Air Raid didn't do the damage, you don't get to scrap an upgrade. Gutted, ladies and gentlemen. Want another really awkward question? Let's say we've got Wheeljack, and Wheeljack is in car mode. Cool. And it is attached with a whole bunch of stuff. So it has got a multi-tool. When you put it on a specialist, you may play an upgrade. It has also got turbo boosters. You can only put it on cars, but when you put it onto a character, you untop that character. And you've got Scrapper Gauntlets. Scrapper Gauntlets, when you put it on a character, you scrap an enemy weapon. If you can't, you draw a card. And then we've got Bumblebee, Courageous Scout. Cool. And he's also got a whole bunch of upgrades. Drill Arms, now you're going to start seeing a pattern here, ladies and gentlemen. Drill Arms, when you put it on a character, scrap an enemy armor if you can't draw a card. Crushing Size, when you put it on a character, scrap an enemy utility if you can't draw a card. And Multi-Mission Gear, which when you attach it to a specialist, it's kind of the opposite of multi-tool, you can play an action. And then you play Swap Parts. Because you see, ladies and gentlemen, Swap Parts lets you swap all the upgrades from 2 characters. And here we've got 6 upgrades, all of which would be moved to a new character, all of which have abilities that trigger when moved. And we've learned this in the past from stuff like Chop Shop. When you move an upgrade from one character to another, that does count as attaching it, and so you do get the when you attach it skill activating. You've got 6 skills activating it all at once. What happens? They all trigger at the exact same time, so it is up to you, as the player doing it, to make a decision as to which order they go in. Cool. What if you've got Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend, and it is attached with a Recon system? So Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend, when you attack and flip cards, you may play one of the actions you flip. But Recon system says, when you are battling, you flip one more battle card, but you have to scrap one of them without using the battle icons. Well, what if you scrap one and then get rid of it with Recon system, but you still want to play it as an action using Optimus Prime's ability? You can't. Optimus Prime won't be able to find it. It has left the play area. It's not just sitting there flipped. It's gone. Optimus Prime's like, whoa, I want to play that. I can't find it anymore. It's gone away. Sad face. Dreadwing. It's one of these combiners. And it's got a skill which says it can have 2 weapons, 2 armors, and 2 utilities. So what happens if you've got 2 security consoles? Security console reads, when the upgraded character defends, draw a card, and then plan 1. Well, if you've got 2 security consoles, you get to do that twice. And the answer is you resolve them one at a time. You do not combine the effects. So you don't draw 2 cards and then plan 2. You draw a card, plan 1, draw a card, plan 1. If you put a card on top of your deck from the first one, be sure to act surprised when you draw it again. And then finishing off with a couple of questions about Static Laser of Ironhide. So we looked previously at Razor Claw. Razor Claw says when you flip to this mode, you can attack untapped characters in bot mode. If you then combine that turn into Predaking, Predaking can attack untapped characters because it takes that skill till the end of the turn because it's combined from that character. Well, what about Static Laser of Ironhide? Static Laser of Ironhide reads, when the upgraded character is not Ironhide and it attacks, do damage to it. Well, if you put Static Laser of Ironhide onto something else and then combine into Predaking, does that mean you don't have to take the 2 damage when you attack? No, it doesn't. It should also be read as not named Ironhide. Sticking with that, Optimus Maximus. Optimus Maximus combines from a bunch of characters including Optimus Prime and Ironhide. And as well as Ironhide having Static Laser of Ironhide, Optimus Prime has Iron Blaster of Optimus Prime, which can only be attached to Optimus Prime and gives you +2 attack, +1 defense. So what happens if your Optimus Prime's got an Iron Blaster of Optimus Prime, and your Ironhide's got a Static Laser of Ironhide, and you combine into Optimus Maximus? What actually happens? And the answer is, you keep Ion Blaster of Optimus Prime. It's just like all of these things, you can attach it only to Optimus Prime, but then when you become Optimus Maximus, you keep it because it was attached to Optimus Prime. Just like you can attach a power sword to a melee character and then flip it into ult mode and it might not be a melee character anymore, but that's okay. You attached it to a melee character. Unfortunately though, although you would take Static Laser of Ironhide, you're not Ironhide. So when you attack, you would have to take 2 damage. So maybe don't move it over to Optimus Maximus, because it does bad things. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, them's the rules, queries, clarifications, updates, whatever you want to call them, from this week. And I would very much like to know what you think about them. So please do let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, but please do remember the rule. Be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk about Transformers and a whole host of other games. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.